this podcast, we have guests for another podcast on the go session with me. We have two guests for tonight. He's recording this at night, by the way. We have uh, Samantha Yap, and we have Vice Mayor Justin Gatuslao. Did I pronounce that right? Or did I
Yes.
murder it?
One of the few who were able to get it right the first time.
Thank you. What I was reading or what was shared previously, the initiative is named Kapwa para sa Kapwa, a gadget donation drive. This is to support the learning hubs in Barangay Santa Ana, Taytay, and Himamaylan City in Negros Occidental.
That's
Yes.
right.
So, yeah. Can anybody, either of you, share how did this program start? What?
Sam, you want to give an overview first?
Okay, sure. So hi everyone, good evening or whatever time you guys are watching us. So basically we started this gadget donation drive to build community learning hubs for our batchmates. So basically, just to give everyone a background, we're called Ladiyawan. So Ladiyawan was formed last year, September, if I'm not mistaken. And so basically, we are all young leaders in government in different sectors. There are LGUs, there are agencies. And so, yeah, that's how it started. It was a 3-month program by FES and by, of course, VP Lenny with the Angat Buhay. And so, we had the kamustahan session is how it happened actually. We had the kamustahan session with all these with the COVID situation. We wanted to check in with each other, like how's everyone doing. We're all in different parts of the Philippines. And so then VP Lenny's office started her gadget donation drive. And then we were talking with each other na, I think this is something we can do also, but a batch initiative wherein the recipients would be our batchmates. And so actually, you mentioned kanina, Iggy, Barangay Santa Ana and 2 barangays in Negros Occidental in Himamaylan. These were 2 recipients because we have 2 batchmates who are really based there. And so we started this project and we called it Kapawa because Kapawa in Hiligaynon, am I correct?
Yes.
Justin, it means light. And so we thought this is a nice branding or nice word to call our project because we believe it would bring light, to students who don't have the means, who have no gadgets or even internet connectivity. So, yeah.
Right. If I could add to that, what's beautiful about this coming together is that it was very organic. Of course, we're very thankful that we were chosen as the beneficiaries of this. 2 of our barangays, particularly barangays Bacau and San Antonio. These are hinterland barangays, and their economies are predominantly agricultural. So that means that the families in these areas are on the poorer end of the income income levels, and they've had difficulty adapting to these to the new normal of education. In fact, just if they have to spend 10 pesos for a PisoNet connection on a regular basis, that's already a strain on their budgets. How much more the need to procure gadgets for this purpose and to have a stable internet connection in their house. It's also very, it's biblical, if anything, that we call the Kapawa para sa Kapwa. It's in the Bible where you say, you have to be the light that helps others see. And that's how we approach this program. That no matter how difficult and how dark the situation seems and how bleak everything is, as long as you have at least one person holding up a candle, then that's going to light up a significant area.
That was really perfect. I guess there are 2 parts of the initiative that we have, Iggy. And so for us, I'm from Quezon City, from Barangay White Plains in particular. I am the SK chairperson here. And so we thought that reaching out to people here in our barangay would help us get gadgets that they didn't really need. And so everyone actually, it started with an NCR initiative, Gadget Drive, wherein we would ask our friends. So basically, I think our batch were around 26 or to 30, if I'm not mistaken, around that number. And so we wanted to touch base with our friends who maybe had extra iPads, extra desktops or laptops, and if they were willing to donate it for us to build a community learning hub. And so that's how it really started. A lot of people were saying, oh yeah, I have an extra desktop, I have an extra, even just a keyboard or a mouse. Maybe this could help in building the community learning hub. And
Right.
so for us, it
So
was a
that's the
big
gadget side. Yeah, that's the gadget side. On the part of the localities, what we had to do was mobilize people, volunteers primarily, and it's a beautiful, beautiful showing of support, no, community for the community from different sectors. So, for example, when I opened this idea to the councillors and to the mayor, they were very supportive of it. In fact, they want to replicate this in other barangays, but specifically for this project, well, we had to get in touch with the barangay leadership and to designate areas. And it's a hitting two birds with one stone, because these areas are roughly 7 kilometers from the national highway, and these areas are not connected to the internet at all. And so for the barangay leaders, they were saying, hey, if we're going to give you an area of our barangay halls to put up this community learning hub, if it's connected to the internet, that means our barangay gets connected to the internet as well. And so parang it's all one go. Beyond that, it was we brought together our scholars who are studying education related courses, and they volunteered to be the educators on the ground. My office is sponsoring the monthly payments for the internet connection, and we're very thankful. I might as well plug them here because they've been such great help. Kabangkalan Cable TV, they're the city next door. The owner, Joel Dapao, has been instrumental in linking these areas. It hasn't been easy. In Libacao, for example, they've had to put up an 80-foot tower just to link this barangay hall to the internet. But if you're fighting for a good cause, the blessings just seem to keep on coming. And thankfully, we haven't had any difficulty bringing people together and helping for this cause.
Is it just limited to the barangays? But what about, let's say, the municipality itself? Are they also turning let's say your office partly as a hub for?
In our city, the vice mayor is in charge of the public library. In fact, this was the project I pitched during our Angat Buhay sessions. So what I said was, look, I mean, I want to treat these community learning hubs as satellites of the library. So it goes beyond just providing the internet. These become areas where we could produce lifelong learning opportunities and create a sense of community as well. So you were asking about municipalities as a whole. On our level, we're looking at hopefully establishing 3 or 4 more community learning hubs before the end of the year. Of course, it's going to be more challenging because a lot more. I don't think I can ask for more gadgets from Ladiyawan, but we're gonna have to source that elsewhere. But see, the beauty is this: you just need a proof of concept, and once a proof of concept has been established, it just flows. It shows that what VP Lenny said is true. That Filipinos, beyond being resilient, are really just waiting for opportunities to help fellow Filipinos. And we're thankful actually that the opportunity to meet all these great people through the Angat Buhay program was made, because we felt lost prior to this. We felt like the value systems that we held dear were no longer mainstream, that we were in the peripheries already. But it turns out there are so many like-minded individuals pa rin who still believe that, Ninoy Aquino's August 21 is coming up soon. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
he did say the Filipino is worth dying for, but on the converse, he also proved that the Filipino is worth living for. And I think that's the kind of message we need in these difficult times.
Yes, agree. And I think touching on how we were really brought together as a batch, I guess you would say that there's a lot of fellowships. And I think we are very lucky that our fellowship has really grown into a family, especially in this really hard times now. Um, we look to each other for strength and for inspiration. And I think for the future, what we would love is, of course, for every one of our batchmates to have a community learning hub. That is really, I think, the goal. It's only been a month in where we were able to complete 3 community learning hubs. And so we are looking to extend those community learning hubs to Mindanao naman, because we have one in Luzon and then we have 2 in Visayas. And so we wanted to fill this gap and to also bring this, hopefully, build Mindanao hubs. And I think what's great here is like what Justin said is we just really need proof of concept. And I think a lot of people have been reaching out to us, asking about what is needed on our end, or what do we have to do to have this set up, because it, I think, is very feasible. And I think with the limited time, for 1 month we were able to complete 3 community hubs. I think that's a great sign that so much work can be done and a lot of people are really willing to help.
I'll just add to that a bit. No, 2 things. Number one, just a few days ago, 3 counselors from Panay reached out to me and asked me how they could put up their own community learning hubs, and requested that I get them in touch with Angat Buhay in VP Lenny's office. They're not going to be asking for anything. They just need technical assistance because they want to be able to approach this the same way, the inclusive and equitable way that the VP Lenny's office approached this whole thing. Second, in these areas, in Libacao and in San Antonio, and the reason why I still can't get over it, because it really just showed community spirit. We had owners of pisonets reaching out to us and saying, oh, so you're helping the students. Okay, so my shop, I can't operate 100% because of social distancing. So I'm going to give you X number of PCs for lease. I'm not going to charge you anything, but you can make the students use these PCs while I still cannot operate fully. So imagine, I mean, they are essentially giving up potential income just to help this project because they understand what it's for. They see that in the long run, it helps out the community. And I think most importantly, they recognize that this is a need that only well-meaning individuals, and not even looking at the government anymore, that well-meaning private individuals will have to fill.
Oh, thank you for that wonderful set of lessons learned and best practices that not just youth in government but government in local government units can apply all over the Philippines. There's the gadget donation component, and then there's the creation of the community learning hub component. It's an alternative place to where we augment the blended learning and distance learning of youth that do not have access or enough access to resources to continue their studies. So this is like for everybody, whether you are from, let's say, elementary, high school, college. Do you have like teachers volunteering as well, or
yes?
Can you give us a rundown?
Right? Sam, you go first.
Okay, gotcha. So basically, the community learning hub, I think why it's perfect that it's in a barangay. It's specifically targeted for barangays. It's because we are trying to fill the gap where students don't have have gadgets or interconnections at their own homes, it's easy for them to access the community learning hub. We're thinking just walking distance or very, very near their homes. In the community learning hub, the setup that is ideal would be to have also tutors there to help to guide them. So actually, the community learning hub not only solves the problem of connectivity and access to gadgets, but also to help students who don't really understand the lesson plan that they have, to have somebody to talk to or somebody to help them figure out what their lesson plan is, how to, maybe give them tips on how to have better time management and things like that. And I think Justin can touch more on those volunteers because he has a lot of volunteers who are excited for these community learning hubs.
Right. So this Kapawa para sa Kapwa is aligned with VP Lenny Robredo's Bayanihan E-Eskwela, as in letter E, Eskwela, recognizing, of course, the blended learning approach that the Department of Education has already instituted as policy moving forward. We conducted, I think, 2 already. Earlier, the second one was conducted. These are learning sessions on the part of the volunteers. And so the focus really is on grade school students, but this does not discount that high school, senior high school, and even college students will be able to use the facility as well. But the focus is really on the younger students. Why? Because they are the most vulnerable as far as this new normal is concerned. Senior high school students and college students are a bit more, how do I put it, industrious, and since they're older, they can move around more freely. But the children, those grades 1 to 6 are really pretty much are gonna have the most difficult time adapting, and so they're the primary audience. Beyond that, as what Sam mentioned earlier, this is like a bridging program also. It allows our soon-to-be professionals. They're scholars now, they're in school, but it also gives them an opportunity to practice their theory. I've talked to them and I've asked them, are you sure you want this additional burden, considering that you're college students and you're going through a lot on your own? And one of them I'll never forget, said that, yes, I'm having a difficult time as a college student, but I can't imagine being their age, the young kids, and having to go through something like this. So I might as well be part of the solution and helping these kids get through this rough patch. And so I said, wow, that's something else. That's really something else.
And I think to even talk about like what future community learning hub has, Iggy, now that we are seeing a lot of reports from DepEd and from CHED on what is the new normal going to be for learning, we are actually adjusting our community learning hubs. I think adjusting isn't the right word, but adapting. And so we saw that there is an option depending on your municipality, I think, or city, if you guys are going to be doing modular learning. And so with this, we recognize this. And so now we are shifting into having more printers and even calling for photocopier machine donations. So that the community learning hubs can also have that option for students. If they want to have their modules reproduced, they have that service for them in the community learning hub. I think going to school, of course, looking back, the photocopier machine is very important. You run to it to borrow notes or to even reproduce books that you don't want to purchase because you just need a few chapters or a few pages. And I guess we see the importance of photocopier machines and printers. And so I guess I also want to talk about how feasible it is to have a community learning hub. Given the social distancing in mind, we actually just need 15 gadgets. And so right now, at the start of it, it was very general. We didn't even put a number that it should be 15 gadgets. But with the spaces that Justin and Tobit is a kagawad in Santa Ana, and he's also one of the recipients. And so we were looking at the space they have and thinking, 15 gadgets would be the perfect number. Just because the tables will be separated and we want to have each table with a gadget, and so it doesn't even require a desktop or a laptop. It can even just be a tablet. And so I think for people to know that it's just 15 gadgets, I think it makes it easier and more feasible for people to put up their own. And another great thing there was, added to the 15 gadgets, we also would love to have printers or photocopier machines on board. And so with our gadget donation drive, we were able to get 4 printers. And so ideally, what we would like to have is 2 printers in each community hub. And I guess Himamaylan is very lucky because Justin also purchased brand new printers for his community learning hub. And so right now, I would say our 3 community learning hubs have the ideal setup of 15 gadgets and 2 printers. Yes, I will also plug my personal fundraiser to build a photocopier machine. So my little sister during this pandemic has set up her bakery, and so she sells cinnamon buns. And for the whole month of August to September 5, she will be donating 100% of her beer machine. And I guess having these sources of inspiration and seeing that, it is possible, we hope to be able to replicate all these community hubs all over the Philippines.
Do you have like an existing number of like how many have like reached out uh, to you or to the vice mayor to replicate this initiative?
Right.
Top of mind, I don't have a number of how many people has reached out to make this community learning hub, but we hope right now we have 3 community hubs that are being set up, properly
You're
processed.
cutting in and
Yeah.
out.
And let me add to that. No? On our end, so we have, and I'm talking about just the network that I'm working with locally. So we have 2 already in Himamaylan City in Negros Occidental. And with the support of our mayor, he was able to commit to 4 more in our city as well. As I said earlier, committing is a huge aspect. Why? Because it's not just, all right, let's open it up. No, it goes with finding the gadgets, getting people involved, like that. But the important thing is there's a commitment. So hopefully we end the year with 6. Outside of Himamaylan, as I said earlier, in Panay, I don't wanna preempt yet, no, but there are 3 LGUs that already expressed interest to establish their own community learning hubs as well, with the specific branding. But you see, beyond our specific community learning hubs under Kapawa para sa Kapwa, we feel that this is going to inspire a whole movement of putting up community learning hubs, whether they call it by that name or not, in all over the country. Why? Because actually, if you look at the bare bones and the basics of what a community learning hub is, the only reason why we're doing this now is because it's absolutely necessary. But if you break it down, these things were needed a long time ago. These things were needed a long time ago. Especially like where I'm from, where children have to walk 3 to 7 kilometers a day just to reach school, and that's and that's before COVID. Huh? How much more with a pandemic like this? And so I'm thinking, yes, necessity. There's a term, diba? Innovation is the child of necessity. But I hope this opens up the possibilities for more individuals, whether in government or in the private sector, to consider establishing more of these learning hubs in their areas. Why? Because not only does it bring the community together, but it fulfills the ultimate purpose of really achieving what children deserve to have. And it is really a move towards equity and solidarity at its very core.
Samantha, can you
How about
speak?
now?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I changed internet. See, I mean, I think this is the thing, right? Like, internet, the stability of the connection is so important, and I think me being located in NCR in Quezon City, I have a hard time with the internet. What I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it just really shows the importance of the project.
Like from what I've gathered so far, it's still like being adapted along the way, right? So before it was just donation. Now you're moving to the community learning hubs, blended learning, focusing on the grade school students, and you're adapting along the way with the guidelines from the government. So from the national government. So what are the next steps for the initiative? Like what are our next plans?
I guess I've mentioned we do want to expand to Mindanao. So right now we're actually reaching out to of our some of our batchmates in Mindanao and seeing if we could do that. We could set that up. So that one is one. Actually, our anniversary as a batch is coming up September, and so we have a plan of maybe creating a module, an operations map module that we could share with everyone. And so, they just need to get their hands on these modules and they can know like what it is, what our best practices was, what is it that really helped it be successful, and what are the things that you need to watch out for and to avoid. So that's something we have in the pipeline to do.
It's a matter of replication. The proof of concept has been established. Of course, as with anything education related, the benefits and the advantages will be known much later on. You don't see the immediate results of providing access, for example, until you see their grades come out or you see their performance in assessment tools. No? But the mere fact that we've tried to provide some level of normalcy in these abnormal times is already proof that we've succeeded in a way. Now, we're not saying we're replicating, we're not saying that we're completely replacing or that this is equal to the typical instruction that we've known for all these generations. No. But what we're doing is, as you said, adapting to the times, also because we have to be flexible and we have to view these from different lenses. I'm very happy and I'm very excited that we're expanding to Mindanao. It's an area that really requires this kind of intervention. And in the Visayas also, hopefully those 3 LGUs in Panay get connected as well. And hopefully beyond Negros Occidental, because Sam is also from Negros Oriental, hopefully we can get in contact with her relatives there and we can establish one there as well. So yeah, I remember what one of our mentors from FES mentioned, si Gus Serdania. He mentioned that, look, there's no need to really, when you're talking about change, it's not always just one time, big time. Sometimes you have to concentrate on patches or islands of green. So I think that's what we're doing. We're lighting up the lights in these different islands, and we get to light up the entire country in the process.
Let's say I've uploaded this they've watched this and they want to help. Like who should I or who should anyone interested, to volunteer or to help out, who should we get connected to? Or do you have like I saw that there's a like a the donation drive link, but
Yes.
let's say, okay, let's say I'm observing something here in barangay, in my area, in my barangay, and I don't see anything happening. Or for example, who should I reach out to?
I think we have set up a Ladiyawan Youth and Government Facebook page. You could reach out to that if you would want more information on how to set up a community learning hub, or we do our best to connect people with people, right? So they could reach out to us on that Facebook. For the donation drive, we are actually still ongoing, collecting gadgets. And so I think at first we realized a lot of people want to donate, but they are not in NCR. And that is completely okay. Given that we do have Visayas and Mindanao batchmates as well, we can connect you guys with them if you would like to donate gadgets as well. And maybe we could even talk about how we could set up one community learning hub there. I think it's just really reaching out and helping each other out in ways we can. So Facebook is the way to go. Ladiyawan Youth Government, we're very responsive. The people you would talk to if you would message that Facebook page. We also have Weda and Ranel. Weda is actually in charge of all our beautiful pub mats, and Ranel makes it beautiful words. My background now is made by Weda. So yeah, we are very responsive on our Facebook page.
So I think we've covered a lot. Anything else you want to share or to plug that you may have forgotten to share earlier?
I guess it would be thank you so much, Brgy, for having us. I think you reaching out to us and us being in your podcast shows that the work that we are doing is very relevant and very important, not just for the communities we serve, but for the entire country. Um, Also, of course, thank you to Justin for being here and for all our batchmates who have supported our Kapawa para sa Kapwa. We wouldn't be this successful, of course, also without our partners, VP Lenny's office, Angat Buhay, and Kaya Natin. Super thank you for always inspiring us and making us better, always pushing us. I think um, of course, I think the last thing I would want is to inspire, of course, to inspire more young leaders in government. Baka super kapal naman to say, but I think my batch, Justin, a vice mayor in Himamaylan, shows that there are progressive young leaders out there and that we can be the change we want in our country.
On my part, it doesn't take much to recognize a need, especially when you're given the opportunity to be of service to your fellow man. And most especially now. But yeah, I remember I think it was Aristotle or something, that it is in times of darkness when we should focus on the light. And I think this is one of those instances. This is a project where, by its very name and by its very nature, it is really about that light that we must seek and that we must share with others. But of course, this isn't easy. It's not easy. Honestly, when we launched this project, so many of us doubted if this would even take off. And I have to admit, I was one of the skeptics at first. Even after I was assigned as the beneficiaries, I was scratching my head. I was saying, how am I going to do this? But see, it just worked. And it worked. It worked because you gotta go through some challenges to make things worthwhile. Diba? I mean, it's through our wounds that the light enters us. so, I'm really thankful to all the donors from all over the country who made this possible. I'm thankful to Ladiyawan together technical resources and all sorts of contacts to make this possible. And I'm thankful to the many more who will be contributing towards these projects of like this or this project mismo. And of course, my biggest thanks really goes to Vice President Lenny Robredo, who has not forgotten what it's like to walk with those who really need company the most. I think this is a huge leap of empathy. And like what Sam was saying, she's in Quezon City and she's having trouble with internet. I'm in Himamaylan. I'm in the proper, of course, and my internet connection isn't stable either. It really takes a second to just take a step back and put yourself in other people's shoes and recognize that there is so much more that needs to be done, and we should get that done now. Let's start moving now. Hey, by the way,
All right.
this initiative that you're doing by featuring us, this is getting stuff done because you're helping us reach out to more people. And as you mentioned earlier, you may feel that you're not that, but who knows? After this video gets out, they might be forced to, hey, they're doing it there. Let's do it here too. Fingers.
Once the recording is done, like, I'll just share with you the link, and you can spam the link. Feel free to spam
we're
it.
looking forward. We're looking forward, like Ani. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Iggy. Thank you.
Thank you. And if I don't know if you can hear it, but it's actually raining really hard here, so I'm very nervous that connection will suddenly cut off. So far we
ran out kanina.
so far we to the finish line, and once again, thank you for taking the time to join me at night here at Podcast on the Go. Thank you to the both of you, and together we can share these great stories of hope to the rest of the Filipinos in a very negative and really challenging period for everyone.